We're just gonna jump right in. I mean, it's 6. I think it's 6. The live stream said it was
Nine.
waiting for me, so I hit go live.
Okay. All right, we're live.
We're live. That's it. This is it. This is it. We did it.
You've achieved.
The live. We did
Live.
it right for me, so I hit. So what happened? What do you feel like talking about? I mean, I know what we're talking about, but like, what do you feel like talking about?
Let's go back to you. Had some good notes. I liked the order of your notes, the stoner metal notes you had.
Because the animals, dude, it's nuts. We're all gonna die. That's what my notes say.
Yeah.
It's not looking good, everyone out there. If you were wondering what the vibe on the pulse is, it's not good.
Yeah. The animals, they're warning us, but we'll get to that.
Everything. Okay. So I guess first up we got Doge USA, the Doge, the fire, the rehiring of the Gooner. They're kind of just deleting LGBTQ references across everything, and it's just like a blatant power grab. Ending USAID, Department of Education. We got Trump deporting people to Gitmo, El Salvador, just saying, yeah, you can deport people to us. Caved on the China tariffs. He wants to directly take control of Gaza and Palestine, and is taking a very pro-white South African stance in general for some reason. The Super Bowl happened. We got the fascist state. The Eagles defeated the fascist state in underdog victory, stealing the hearts of a nation.
Kendrick a good omen.
That's right. Kendrick Lamar did a great job, but all the white conservatives are offended because they're white conservatives.
Yep.
And now I'm just declaring the new opposition party. The Democrats are dissolved. It's now just the Philadelphia Eagles, spearheaded by Stephen A. Smith, as our opposition party.
Yeah.
In America.
That's
our show.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah. So should we start with the Doge?
Yeah.
Zoomers and Gooners?
That's right. I think I'm supposed to put their names up because it's like a crime to do so, but I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because there's this supposed department of the government that one is unelected and two, you're not allowed to report on them or Elon Musk will nuke your account and sue you.
Yeah.
And then also they're all like 19-year-old racists.
No. Oh, I gotta put it above our Discord names.
That's
they're
cool.
all like actual gooners.
Yeah. They love to masturbate for hours on end.
And
probably.
Also,
don't sue us.
They're also underdogs allegedly for like a boss man. Yeah, like they're actual goons. Yeah,
they're goons. Yeah.
So yeah, those are the guys that are turning off Social Security payments to everybody, allegedly.
Yeah. All these guys look like Cooper DeJean, but they're not jacked.
This is Young Sheldon season, the sequel to Young Sheldon, Big Bang Theory, the early years.
Yeah. So all these like high school kids have your Social Security number. You know, they know where you live. They can shut down any government agency because it's supposedly woke.
Yeah. There's a lot of like weird stuff they're saying too. Like they'll investigate any company that still has DEI policies. Like it's supposed to mean something or not be super concerning if it does mean exactly what it sounds like it means.
Yeah.
Which is just Doge will shut down your company if you're anti him in any way possible.
Yeah, I mean, other people have made the joke, but it's like they just control F like gender or race or something, and then if anything comes up, then it's like, oh, this is woke. We need to destroy it immediately.
Just straight up, like it's not even subtle.
Yeah.
Somehow it's all tied into Gamergate too, so people straight up are like, putting black people in video games is why I'm happily accepting the authoritarian takeover of the U.S.
Yeah.
That's an actual take you'll see on X, the everything app these days.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's,
Um.
we're all gonna die. Asmongold is
Yeah.
now the actual like head of party. I think he's the actual president. It's Asmongold, not Elon Musk.
It's a triumvirate.
It
It's
really is.
Trump, Elon Musk, and Assman Gold.
Oh man,
Um.
trying to think who would be who in the Morrowind triumvirate, but I don't think they. I don't know. I'm too.
Morrowind. Yeah, I
I
didn't
can't
really
even think about
play.
that. No, dude,
I
Morrowind's
got to the Cliff Racers, and the Cliff Racers like destroyed my ass, and I never played Morrowind
because
ever again.
they got the three like false gods of Vivek, Almalexia, and Sathasil, but one guy's like a like mad clockwork inventor, but he's dead.
Yeah.
One guy just like thinks he's like really cool and based, and, like knows about like metaphysics, but also knows he's gonna die because that's like he knows he's not the main character. He literally tells you that you're the main character in a video game.
Is that Juwib?
No,
Juwib does it?
that's Vivek.
Oh.
He's the
Is Vivek Juwib?
no, Jim's just like the guy in the boat. You wake up in Morrowind, like he's like the guy who gives you the enter your
So
name
this is
from.
my theory. Juwib is Vivek Ramaswamy, and then Elon Musk is the main character of Morrowind. Because you start out and you're supposed to team up with Juwib, but Juwib dies or something. I'm not really sure what happens to Juwib in
He just
Morrowind.
kind of he goes on his own main quest. And
Yeah, so that's what Vivek's doing
he
while Elon Musk is
he
like
literally
gathering Zoomers to his
he
cause.
literally kills all. He's like Saint Patrick of
Yeah,
Morrowind. He drove all the cliff racers out of Vardenfell.
yeah, good for,
That's what happens to him.
yeah, good for him.
He gets canonized as a saint, and they celebrate Saint Jib's Day in Morrowind
Yeah,
every year.
yeah. I hope something like that happens to Vivek. Like he drives out all the
Drives out
not the woke,
all
but
the
like
anti woke hashtag
something
dark woke.
lesser. You know?
Yeah, the like pearl clutching moderate.
Yeah,
The
he
real
drives out all the moderates out of America. That'd be cool.
that would
I
be
would
cool
celebrate Vivek if he did that.
because like I'm alright with extremists. You know, at least you know what extremists stand for, like Zap Brannigan and neutrals. You know,
Yeah, you got to pick a side.
like right, like Elmo saying, "Oh, I wish both teams do well." Like,
Yeah, fuck Elmo.
fuck
Dude.
Elmo, man.
Yeah, he's always saying shit like that. Like people were mad at Jordan Peterson when he
No, Jordan
like quote
Peterson.
tweeted Elmo, and I'm like, that's the one thing I agree with Jordan Peterson on is like saying "fuck you, Elmo."
That's why Larry David knew he could get away with that.
Yeah,
He knew he was in the right.
yeah,
Uh, I think the white South African thing Trump's been pushing on top of all this is just like really funny because you know exactly where it's coming from.
yeah. So this is a reaction to land reforms. It's not even a thing that's been put into practice. It's a bill that's going through the South African Congress, and it's like to like redistribute unused land by the white minority in South Africa who still owns a vast majority of the wealth, to redistribute unused land held by them into like something more productive that can benefit the whole country. And I mean, South Africa, as we know, has very limited resources, like one in terms of water and two in terms of arable farmland. And also, this is a bill. This isn't even something that's been put into place yet. So, um,
They're just mad about seeing this kind of like large scale wealth redistribution. I
Yeah,
mean, like that's what it
yeah.
is on a practical level. They're gonna make it about race, even though it is about race in South Africa, but like it's
I
about
mean, it
the
is
wealth
just
redistribution.
because in reality in South Africa, like the reality is it's about race.
Well, yeah,
Like
they did it, and
apartheid's over, but the white minority still is the wealthier class in South Africa.
it's kind of like it's kind of like in a weird way because you know in Japan there's been like this cultural like symbiosis with Japan since World War II, where like they've taken on a lot of like our culture, we've taken on a lot of their culture. They kind of did
Mhm.
that in South Africa, except the culture they took was like exclusively the Confederate States of America era. Like,
Yeah,
and they're
I
like,
mean
oh,
that.
that's really cool. We're gonna do that full sail here.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah. I mean there was that other country, Rhodesia, that
isn't that
you know,
Zimbabwe now?
yeah, it's Zimbabwe, but I think it's almost the same thing there, where probably not to the same extent as South Africa, but um, there's a white minority in the country, and they own a good amount of stuff, even though um, the official apartheid state has been dismantled.
Right.
But Elon Musk, of course, like as a South Africaner, he and himself wants special attention paid to this. Um, even and Trump and his State Department is going to follow that lead for now. And, yeah,
Yeah. It's it just kind of ties into all of it because it's like immediately just kind of the like Musk's power, Elon Musk's power over Trump and the administration in general. It's kind of just
yeah,
like a funny, very on the nose like sidebar they're kind of just engaging in.
right. Like I don't think Trump would care about this if Elon wasn't bringing this up.
Absolutely, this is a very like Elon problem. Like no one
Yeah,
else can like.
like if you look at the actual bill, it's not that extreme. It's taking unused land and farmland and distributing it to something that could benefit South Africa with its limited resources. As a small country.
Right,
So,
and
and I feel
that's
like Trump, yeah,
I mean I think it just maybe I'm overthinking this or too optimistic, but I think just like the precedent of this kind of redistribution in the modern time is something they don't want to see happen either. Because that's kind of like the logical end goal of a lot of progressive movements is that we have to take these vast quantity of resources and redistribute them to the benefit of society versus just to the lining of pockets of the capital owners.
right, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly. It's the same reason they bring up collective farming, under the Soviet Union as such a historic issue, even though even in the US, like we have a huge inefficiency problem with how, with factory farming and, other things like that. It's the for-profit model of a food supply is not. I mean, anything for profit, I would argue, is not a sustainable model to provide for a populace at all. But especially food is you really get down to it, like that's the main thing. I think that's unsustainable. You
right.
know.
Yeah, I mean, and it's interesting how like both double-sided it is because like I feel like on the farm level, a lot of that
Hmm.
comes from subsidies. So like
Yeah.
they're and then selling it to whoever, but like they're usually not making a whole lot of just like the actual farming part of it. Uh,
Yeah.
so it's interesting like when it becomes for profit because like yeah, the farmers are probably making money off it. They're getting a lot of subsidies. They're doing work, and we need farmers because that's like a
Right.
it's just an industry we need. Obviously, you need to
Right.
feed people. Uh, but like how we decided to distribute that amongst us is for profit. That's definitely just a really weird like thing where like they're already comfortable with the idea of socialism and like subsidizing needed industries because they need to be
Hmm.
supported. People need to do it and want to do this work. Uh, but
Yeah.
then it stops like immediately, either on like the actual labor part when it comes to paying people affordable wages to farm, uh,
Hmm.
work on the farm, and then versus like actually distribute it and feeding people.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time. Like, you know, farmers can't exist without subsidies. There's the dream in every capitalist society of the self-sufficient, yeoman farmer, but um, you know, they can't exist without government subsidies. I mean,
Yeah, and I think, I mean, I generally think the like myth of individuality in capitalist society is just that. I think it's just kind of like a
mhm.
lie because
Yeah, it
like
really
even the
is.
even like the capitalists don't want people to be individualistic like that. They want them part of the system. They want them part of
Right.
whatever. It's kind of just like I mean it's another dividing factor. Like you won't worry about what your neighbor's doing because they're telling you to just worry about what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you're never going
Yeah,
to be
that's exactly it.
self-sufficient
They don't want people to be self-sufficient. They want, yeah, to be a cog in the
because even
supply
even
chain.
at the top they're not self-sufficient. They need that machine to keep running for them.
Yeah, exactly. They're the least self-sufficient at the top, for sure, obviously.
That's right.
So they would hate this to like have a model where people can self-sufficiently farm and things like that, even though that's, not realistic,
Yeah. I mean,
even if
is
they
there
wrote
something to
down.
be said that like our government handles farming subsidies in really silly ways sometimes? Absolutely. But
Yeah.
it's just more like of a more boring issue and not sensationalized. Like, should FDR have just been buying milk to dump it out to keep the price of milk steady? I mean, I don't know. Probably
Probably
not.
not. Yeah.
But
But
yeah,
I
I feel like
mean,
that's a different issue than just like ending subsidies and like privatizing everything.
right.
And a lot of those like goofy government subsidies and waste anywhere specifically at the behest of like lobbyists and stuff. Like they're doing that so like capital owners don't get mad that their price of their milk tanked because they had so much available and people needed it or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's inaccurate to like view farmers as, you know people who provide just, who are workers who provide food for you. They are petty, at least petty bourgeois, sometimes even straight up bourgeois in the case of, you know, factory farmers. Like, these are the people who own the means of production. Like, that's exactly what Marx was talking about in, his original writings. And they can't exist without, the being, propped up by the government and, everything else like that. So why shouldn't the public own this vital uh source of something everyone needs,
Yeah,
food,
that's right. That's right. They say like the big thing they're pushing
Struggle.
now is oh if it requires the labor of another it can't be a human right.
Yeah,
I think it's the
and
big like
even
pushback
beyond
on that
that,
sort of thing, like nationalizing industries and
yeah,
utilities and stuff, food.
exactly.
Like it's crazy. What a crazy
Yeah,
thought process. Like it's hard to even like think of a specific example to counter it because the concept itself just seems so like outlandish to me. Like everything requires the labor of another. That doesn't mean you don't work to provide that for your neighbors, you know?
right.
Like I think it's fine to have a responsibility to take care of those if you're able to. I think so like it's that's why I'm alright like paying taxes. Having my taxes go to something. Be nice if they like
Right.
always went to like cool stuff, but you know.
I mean, yeah, your
So
taxes are already going to subsidize these like big, agricultural owners, and it would be great if your, you know, taxes allowed you to have a say in how these things are produced, or not even have a say, but like these things were produced in a way that it
made it
benefited
accessible
the
to
public
you,
interest, you
like
know?
without made it accessible to you, like reasonably. You know what I mean?
Right.
like we're subsidizing these farmers, so like why do people go hungry? Like why is food cost
Yeah,
so like
right.
outrageous?
Instead of crops like being like, what, like, if this isn't an accurate number, but like 80% corn for fucking high fructose corn syrup, like it would be nice if in a collectivized farm system we, were able to produce crops that were nutritionally beneficial for the general populace, or at least like used land in a way that
Right.
benefited everyone.
And
So
I feel like I've brought this up before, but I'm sure it's still going on. But the whole like alfalfa land water rights situation in Arizona,
yeah,
I feel like that ties into this. Like that's crazy that that's happening.
yeah. I mean, you
It's
want
like
to talk about what happened in California with the water usage? I think I saw that it was like 80% of California's water usage went to agriculture, and the number one agricultural crop by water usage was alfalfa for cows for making your fucking McDonald's hamburger. Like,
yeah,
we could make our society healthier and more efficient by a more directed, I guess, form of food production.
yeah. I mean, because that's kind of it's. I don't know. As always, I'm just kind of reminded of all the other fake fictional societies because like this is both the thing that kills the NCR in New Vegas, like the beholden to the water barons and Brahmin herders. So
Mm-hmm.
like just the money that comes from herding cows is worth more to us, like in the short term, than any like environmental caution words or like just whatever. There's no societal change that'll happen because people like eating meat and people make money off people like eating meat. Uh,
Right, and
but then like in Star
that's
Trek, they get the
yeah,
replicator and they can just like zap you cow meat out of nothing, and everyone's just like fine.
yeah,
But like in real life,
and
people get weirded out by fake cow meat.
right, yeah, like you could make fake. I mean, that's a whole other issue, but
We
like,
got to get onto the Squidbillies like genetically engineered hot wing plate chicken that like shoots its own blue cheese out onto the wings and like comes out of the egg like pre-cooked. We got to get on that level of engineering our food to be more efficient.
yeah,
Give me the slop and the
we got
bugs.
to
I
get
don't
on that
care.
hat game as well. That early wears he wears an awesome hat every episode.
Yeah, that's right. We definitely got to get
The
on
best
like
hat is definitely the
sick.
donkey with the big ass dick,
It's like
and it
censored
has to
out
be like
always.
blurred out for the whole episode.
He
I
keeps
need
wearing
that
it to
hat.
church.
Yeah,
Man,
dude, Early's the best.
everything
Squidbillies
reminds
the
me of
best.
Squidbill.
That's like gotta be like the best. Like
We're living in
the
it.
same way people like would dig up like Greek tragedies. Like I hope like when archaeologists like dig up
They just
our culture,
they
like
just
they find
only get
Squidbillies.
yeah, they get Squidbillies and like five other Adult Swim shows and nothing else, and they have to figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah, they get like Squidbillies. They get Breaking Bad. Um, and I feel like that's all you really need to know about the like American Empire.
That's really it. Those two shows capture the like experience of living in the imperial core.
Yeah, of this century for sure.
Like just extreme Ex- it's just extreme, man. I feel like Squidbillies is almost like one of those things where you can't do it anymore because we're getting that absurd.
Yeah,
Like we're all just living under Dan Halen now.
yeah.
We were so good at making cartoons out of our reality that our reality became the cartoons, and now we don't know how to like cartoonify it anymore.
Well, maybe we can use this as a friggin' uh, transition, but the sending illegal immigrants to Guantanamo Bay, like I was thinking, like that sounds like a joke from. You remember that show Little Bush? From
Yeah.
like that
Oh
sounds
man.
like a joke they would make in Little Bush, like we're gonna send the illegals to Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah. I mean,
You know,
honestly, I
like
would
it's
be
just so
surprised to
absurd.
find out that this is the first time we've done this.
Yeah, like
Like,
this just sounds like a George. Like
and now the
there's that account on Twitter that's like George W. Bush era leftism. Like this sounds like a meme they would come up with. This is like, I mean, it's a tragedy that they're even considering this, but this is like evil. Like if this wasn't real, like this would be a comically evil thing they're doing.
yeah.
Like
I mean, the
sending
fact
30,000 fucking people to Guantanamo Bay for
just it's a misdemeanor to be in here like past your visa. That's the fucked up part.
yeah,
It's like not even a crime.
like yeah, like quote unquote illegals that have committed a crime. Like what does that even mean? Like they committed a crime in their native country, like they like stole something because they're so poor they can't afford food. Like what does that mean? Like and you're gonna send those people to
No, it's just the crime they committed was just being in the country without following whatever immigration law they wanted you to have followed.
yeah,
Like there's not even necessarily like actual crimes committed in the homeland or here beyond that.
right.
I think they were saying, at least in the first plane that they round up and sent, it was like a lot of women and children, like pregnant women and children. The one that was going to Mexico and got denied, I think.
Yeah.
Uh,
Or the one that was going to what was it, Colombia, right?
yeah, Colombia.
Like that's just like come on,
But
man.
then
Like
it makes you even angrier because you realize that our opposition party has been in power for most of the last 20 years, and why is Guantanamo still open? Why
right.
do
I remember,
why do we still
you
have
know,
it?
as a when me and you, I think we were like when did Obama like first run first we were like 17 or
Yeah,
something.
it was
Like I don't think we could literally vote yet.
I think it was sophomore year.
Yeah, but we were like Obama
Oh yeah, it was
fans.
sophomore year because the election happened. That was 08 to 09. Because I remember watching his inauguration like in health class. Like they made us stop and watch his inauguration. I don't know, it
Yeah,
was health
I
class,
remember
but
that shit too.
yeah. I think it's the only
But
time
we
I've
were
ever
like,
actually watched a presidential inauguration was Obama's first.
yeah, like I remember we were so hyped for Obama, and like I don't think it was because we were naive. Like he
Bush was
promised some good shit.
tangibly evil. That's what like I think a lot of people don't realize. It's like I was in third grade when like No Child Left Behind hit. Do you remember that when they like officially swapped over to all the standardized tests?
Yes,
That was
I do remember that.
like you could feel that. Like I was in third grade, but
Yeah, that
you
was
could see
tangible for
all the
us as
teachers like
children.
start freaking the hell out about like the future of education as we know it.
Yeah. Um.
So
Yeah.
yeah, we were like
So
everyone was like stoked that Bush was gone.
right. Yeah, he was terrible. Like everyone hated Bush, but like I remember Obama. Like he ran on so many like just picture this. Like picture a Democratic candidate running on this nowadays. Like getting rid of nuclear weapons, including the U.S.'s nuclear arsenal. He literally said like he wanted to get rid of the U.S.'s nuclear arsenal. He wanted to close down Guantanamo Bay. He wanted to end the Iraq War, pull everyone out of Iraq. I think,
I think he
correct me if I'm
campaigned pretty
wrong, but he
harshly on
wanted
the
to get out
banks
of
during the resent.
Afghanistan as well.
Yeah,
What?
I think he campaigned on being pretty harsh on the banks during the recession and stuff, right?
Yeah,
Like all the big
yeah.
money. Because I don't think the recession had hit yet. I don't know the timeline of like when he was campaigning.
Right.
But like
But
he
he didn't do
was
any of that shit.
no, no. I remember
And,
us making fun of Teresa in high school for saying she didn't like him for his lies, but
it's
that
true.
vindicated, vindicated. There's never been a more vindicated sentiment in
Yeah.
history.
I mean, that's his problem. He said he was going to get rid. He said he was going to close down Guantanamo Bay, and he never did. And now look at us,
Right?
fucking.
Like that's what Gitmo's been for.
Yep. And
And
now
that's
look
what
at us. 20 years later, they're putting illegal immigrants, quote unquote, into Guantanamo fucking Bay, the
uh,
torture, shame site of America. Like,
right, like in 50 years that's what people are going to be like Unit 51, Auschwitz,
yeah,
Guantanamo Bay, like
I mean, that's what that is. Like, we should
straight
have
up.
gotten rid of the shit a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think a sentiment, this is a very negative sentiment, it's probably not helpful. But it's one I've been throwing out a lot because like I've been angry is that
Mm.
telling people that like they're not mad at us like for not voting for the genocide. They're mad that like this arm of the US imperial like this like thing that the US has been doing my entire life has now kind of just been turning inward more.
Mhm.
So like we're threatening our own people with it. At least the first time it's happened, not even the first time it's happened. 'Cause it's happened during Bush too. But that's really
Yeah.
what they're mad at. They're just mad that like it's affecting them at home and not just Palestinians or Afghanistanis or Iraqis.
Yeah, I mean, this was, you know, the logical conclusion of all that shit. Like, people didn't take it seriously when the Patriot Act, like, said they could check out whatever books you got at the library, and now Elon Musk and his Zoomer Gooner squad has your fucking social security number, like,
But
it's
even
all
then,
come.
like all the institutions that had your social security number are already being run by people like Musk, like in the
Yeah.
private sector at least. Like, 'cause, like when I worked at Fidelity, I had your entire like employment history just every time you called to check on your 401k, and I'm just like a guy.
Yeah.
The amount of like sensitive government info, like I you get to pass through a lot of background checks, so like it's good that I never really do anything, but they really do kind of just let anyone handle his data.
Oh,
So
man.
the fact that like it's secure at all is kind of just like a trust in society in general. Uh, Not that I trust Musk, but like they're being all like, oh, like they're doing all this or that. Like, I don't care about my data, man.
I mean, it's already been, like,
Right?
tossed around,
They
like,
already. That's what I'm saying. Like they already said that all our social security's numbers got hacked like a month ago anyway,
yeah.
and Biden didn't even say anything about that.
But it's just funny that, like, one, people didn't take, like, that resistance seriously, like, earlier, and uh what was I gonna say? I don't know.
I saw on Reddit, today I
It,
learned the like first they came for the blah blah blahs, and I said nothing guy was an actual like known anti-Semite who voted for the Nazis 3 times. Like today I learned that. It's like, what do you mean? That's the text of the poem. It's just like it's just literally what it's about. Like
yeah, he didn't do
a guy who voted for it and said nothing.
yeah,
Like I don't
like, that's Democrats.
like it wasn't even like a reading into the poem like you had to be taught or like critical thinking. That's just literally the text. People are crazy,
Yeah.
man. I'd say open the schools, but they've defunded the schools.
Yeah, the children have been left behind.
I
It's
saw
over.
I saw one guy say that like, oh, so like, oh, if commies are so good, that's why they always do so well and everybody wants to be communist. And everyone's like, like, yeah, whatever, propaganda, this or that or that and this. And he's like, open the schools. And it's like, wait, I thought schools were turning people into communists, not teaching people anti-communist propaganda.
Right.
Because I guess schools are just that, which we already knew that that's what they wanted. Schools to
Yeah.
be just
I mean,
propaganda machines.
it's
That's why they're
it's neoliberals.
right, and that's why they're dismantling the Department of Education. Which does that mean people don't have to pay their student loans anymore? Did Trump cancel student debt like
I so I hope
accidentally?
that's what that means. I would vote for Trump again if that's what that meant.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's what it means.
Never
I
voted
know
for Trump for the
because they're
record,
like,
but
oh, ah,
if
I
he
just
did cancel
immediately lost that train of thought.
I'd be like,
Something about like
yeah,
selling the debt, like to privatize it, uh, the normal stuff. But like if they dismantle it first, then they were the ones who like where those loans are gone, bro. Like I don't think there's student debt anymore. Maybe that
that's what
schizophrenia lady who
I'm
was
thinking.
telling us that loans aren't real and debt is illegal was right.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope that. I don't think. I mean, like I'm sure that that's going to be the one thing that Trump keeps from the DOE is student loans, just because he wants to like punish whomever demographic was against him, and college educated people was the number one that's against Trump. But
Right.
um, the Department of Education. I mean, I almost like hate to say this, but like I'm not too sad to see them go just because we spent so much time talking about George Bush and his stupid fucking no child left behind shit. Like that was Department of Education. They always mandate weird shit for like classrooms to teach. Like if there's a Republican in charge, they make you teach like creationism or whatever.
I think that's
But
more of a like benefit to non-public schools and like charter schools and stuff.
that's the thing. Like
I think that like more happens in the South because they have like more like centralized like state smaller Department of Educations that go around specifically for that reason. Like
right.
Texas, I think has like its own education system. That's a whole different beast, for better or for
Yeah.
worse.
Yeah, so it doesn't really sound like the federal Department of Education's like protecting.
But see, that's what they're banking on for you to be like, oh, then they think about like all the dumb, stupid, bad things the government does and go like, oh, okay, that's why we should just blow it up. Like they're counting
Yeah,
on that sentiment. Even like
yeah.
Fox News
I
and
don't know.
all the
It's
mainstream
probably
media is
mean,
reporting it like that too. Like that's the spin on it. Like, oh, like this
yeah,
is bad and dangerous and illegal, but you know,
right. It's not gonna mean like less like Republican influence over like the curriculum. It's gonna mean more fucking stupid
I
charter school
right.
shit.
You just see like the same divide of like where people invest the money in get higher returns and the people who stop investing the money in stop getting those returns. Now you can kind of like fudge numbers and stuff.
Right.
Uh
Yeah, it's
and,
it's just result in the further like job training vacation
yeah,
of
yeah, like
like there's not going to be any more like teaching of like history or you know liberal arts or anything. It's just going to like it's like how everyone says like why we gotta learn like the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell? Why don't we learn our taxes, bro? Why don't we learn how to fucking get a trade job, bro? Like, why we gotta learn this shit? Like,
right. And because it's like, well, most of you is probably gonna end up working retail your whole lives, and you don't really need anything from the education system to do retail.
yeah. So
The
it's like,
math, but like, and that's what they want. They just want servants to not have education. They need to
yeah,
keep this knowledge from
what?
the masses,
Right.
lest they gain
Yeah, and then
literacy.
people wonder why we have a fucking bankrupt society. It's because people are too busy learning their taxes instead of like architecture or fucking whatever. I don't.
Right? They lament that we don't create good art anymore, but then also call all artists slurs.
Yeah, they're like, why would you ever not get a STEM degree?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Education's fucked. I mean, who's that? So remember Trump won? They put that awful woman in charge of the Department of Education. What was? Do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember her. I want to say it's the same lady because they kind of been doing a lot of repeat cabinet picks.
Yeah.
Like the guy who wrote Project 2025 was on Trump's cabinet the first time. Also, think they put him in the same one.
Oh, really?
I guess I can Google that. That is the thing I can do. All right, in 26. Oh, Betsy DeVoe. Oh God, I think I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
memory
Uh,
holder. You're right. That
her
awful
husband like
woman,
owned Blackwater, right?
Eric Prince. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's father or brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the Blackwater guy. I forgot about her.
Right.
You're right. Awful woman stuff. Ugh.
Yeah, she sucks.
Just like
Toast the HVAC program itself was probably federal money. I could see that, as well as the TV production.
that can't be right. Linda McMahon. Oh man, yeah, we really are all gonna die, aren't we?
Linda McMahon.
Linda McMahon. That's who we picked this time. So we got the WWE running the Department of Education that they're also sabotaging.
Wow.
But yeah, he's right. I think the HVAC program, the TV, I think a lot of our band stuff was federal money too, right?
Was Mr. Walsh a Fed?
Mr. Walsh, yeah, I mean, you told us he was.
Yeah,
He's a
he was in
veteran
the
at
army.
least. He was in Vietnam. His service in Blackhawks or whatever helicopters they
Yeah.
had in Vietnam.
Remember that kid like asked Mr. Walsh how many like people he killed, and Mr. Walsh didn't want to like answer.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, I wouldn't want to talk about Vietnam either, especially not to like us.
Yeah, those like dumbass. Yeah, it was like us who were like dumbasses, and then
I mean, it was a very absurd
a
class
bunch
and
of kids that
situation.
were
And then we made him watch Black Hawk Down. He got PTSD flashback and had to leave for a little
yeah, he
bit
was out.
because he did. Didn't he
Remember when
just
they
like dip
tested
out?
the web out of duct tape for like one kid?
Yeah, yeah. We enabled a lot of bullying.
Yeah, that was bad. That was a bad.
That was that whole thing. It was absurd.
Yeah,
It was a very absurd.
that's what happens when you try to fucking force trades though on like high schoolers. Like, you know, we do stupid shit.
Right. Like all I think about in high school is everyone kind of just yelled at the teachers, and the teachers are kind of just like sad they couldn't teach.
Yeah,
Oh man, I just wanted to teach these kids about the free market economy. They just want to go outside and play Jeopardy.
yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. Infinity Farm says our state is so broke. All our high school stuff was from federal. That's why we had HVAC, automotive, culinary, etc. But our English books were falling apart. That's true.
Yeah.
That's fact.
Yeah.
That's
Because I
the
mean,
hundreds.
I didn't really like English class like because I was really bad at writing. But I really like reading and like talking about reading in class. I think it's easy to get like very dry and academic with it. There's very few teachers I feel like encourage like, oh no, you just like have fun with interpreting art. You just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
and
I
so I think a
mean,
lot of people can get like bogged down. It's like, oh, I don't want to like think about what I'm seeing or think about what I'm doing because they're just reminded of like having to write like an arbitrary letter count double spaced about the Scarlet Letter.
oh yeah,
And they just
everyone hates Scarlet Letter.
they just like which is like really funny to think about that in the Scarlet Letter and like our society's reaction to it now.
I'm
Uh,
trying to think, like, if
I don't know. Every
like
once in a while, I
I
see a
did
tweet that's
read
like,
Scarlet Letter, and I've read like ever since then I've read like books that were contemporary to that period, and I'm like, was Scarlet Letter really that whack? And I think it was. I think the Scarlet Letter is a whack ass book.
I think it's like one of those things where just the subject matter itself makes it stand out in like a puritanical time. We're just like talking about like a woman having sex for a whole book, but like in a really, really boring way.
Well, when was that? When was that book written?
I don't even know, man.
Well, it was written
I actually don't
in the
know.
1800s, but it was supposed to be about an earlier period. So I don't fucking know. But that book sucks.
Published in 1850.
Yeah,
What's great about Moby Dick is it's like it's really funny.
it is
I don't
funny.
think I picked up on that when I tried to read it as a dumb kid, but reading it now, it's like, man, this is the funniest book ever written.
Yeah, you have to read it like as a like under your own free will because it is a good ass book.
Yeah,
But Scarlet Letter, I'm trying to think if I would ever like want to pick that up again, and I
it's
don't
kind of
think I.
cool. It's kind of cool how like New England doesn't change.
Yeah,
It still feels like you're reading it and you're like, yeah, that's what like Rhode Island
that's more or
feels
less
like.
what it is. Yeah,
Every time you go to the coast and you just like see the people, you're like, yeah, these people just like hang out in inns and smoke pipe tobacco and spoon in bed all night.
yeah,
That's right. That's what New England's all
that's
about.
what I try to do. Yeah,
Split the difference between classics and contemporary literature, but again, no money, easier to teach the same book for 30 years. Yeah, that's right. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. I think it's important to learn these things because, like, I haven't really read a lot of contemporary or classics outside of school. Like, I don't think I'd go read The Great Gatsby if I wasn't like forced to.
no,
Uh,
yeah,
I did read Animal Farm on my own for the first time. Like, I didn't have to. I didn't. One of my teachers made us like I didn't have any of the classes we read Animal Farm in high school, so I didn't read it at all until like last year.
yeah, yeah. I read Animal. I don't think I was in class that made me read Animal Farm. I read
Um,
that on my own,
it's
and
exactly
I
like what I
read
thought it was going to be, and it's also really funny to see anyone else's opinion on Animal Farm because I don't think they read the same book.
no.
I don't think I've ever seen people miss the point of a book as much as that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that George Orwell, this is going to be a hot take, but I think he, like, totally misread the fucking, like, power structures of the time. Like, he thought that the government was going to be the biggest power block, whereas in our modern society, like, private corporations have much more, at least domestic, power
It's
than
and it's really
anything.
fun to see that because I think even by his time, I don't know. I feel like it's been the writing on the wall. I mean, that's what Marx was writing about. Um,
Right.
because like even that we had the East India Trading Company, like the Dutch East Indies, like that whole thing was like a private,
Right. They
like
started
officially
capital.
like yeah, like state sanctioned corporations. They really kicked off that, and then you see that kind of come up again in the whole industrial revolution and development of the United States. Like the federal government and the industries, the captains of industries or whatever, have been intrinsically linked pretty much throughout the entirety of our country.
Right.
Like how to balance laws between like the populist proletariat stuff that they want versus like all the like private capital owners and keeping them happy has kind of been the tightrope the US has been walking its entire existence on purpose because they've
Right.
always wanted to be pandering towards the like wealthy business owners first, and then dealing with the populace is kind of like a side effect.
Right. An afterthought.
Right. I mean, because even FDR framed it as like, give them a little bit of socialism so they don't like flip out.
Well, that was arguably why FDR implemented so many socialist, or not socialist, but social programs, was because that was probably the breaking of the wave in terms of the left liberal coalition,
Absolutely. Exactly.
of
Give them what they want before they take more by force. So you just, like you said, break the wave, placate it,
right.
is set the
And
stage for Red
since,
Scare.
hasn't been welcomed back to that coalition.
No, no. I mean, and it's the same. It's the same thing that when you say, like, when people say, like, Lincoln didn't free the slaves, like, because he wanted to do a good thing. It's that same kind of thing where, like, most good things that happen in U.S. history are kind of just like a side effect of people realizing you can make more money if you do it.
Yeah.
Or in this case, the South could lose money if you do it.
Right.
If you're trying to fight the slave owning economy. I mean, the North
Right.
was mogging the South and the economy anyway, but
Right. I mean, you look at the tax.
that's the original farming subsidy. If you think about it, original farming government subsidy
Right.
in a really fucked up way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fucked up that we got here from that stupid South Africa farm bill, but
Hey, that's it's all connected. We'll connect it
yeah.
all.
Right. We're in Brave New World side of dystopia.
I haven't actually read any of those. If I'm being honest.
I don't
I
remember
haven't read any
if I
Heinlein.
finished Brave New World.
Oh,
I think
that's
I got at least halfway through it. There's like different classes of people generated, and then like at the top you like take something called Soma to like always be like chill and happy. I guess that makes sense.
yeah.
That is definitely how I feel right now. Actually, as like a PMC person drinking beer and smoking weed all the time, I guess. Anyway.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like all our dystopias were somehow still more hopeful than real life.
Yeah,
Like even
yeah. We
1984,
just
like
knew like the way the wind was blowing. We have no idea what's gonna happen with our society. You know.
yeah, yeah. I'm kind of hoping. I don't know. If China does invade, I'm going straight into Tokyo Rose mode and just broadcasting pro CCP propaganda to demoralize the home resistance,
Right.
which isn't Tokyo Rose. Like I anti Tokyo Rose.
I don't even know.
I think
But
she.
we have our demonstrated history of shilling for the CCP. I mean, look at the fan edit that Swick made for us.
That's the best thing still.
We can just put that on our resume and we'll be good.
Because you can always tell. Uh, Imagine the end of world and the end of capitalism. That's right, because people want to make money for themselves, and as long as
Yeah.
that like desire of like I just like what's in it for me, what do I get out of this, on its basis
Right.
level is you just can't really get rid of that.
Yeah.
I mean, Stalin tried, but it didn't work. Mao tried. Maybe Mao was right.
He probably was, but he just executed it stupidly, like
Yeah.
killing off pharaohs and stuff, right?
Yeah, I was see or one I made a joke on Twitter that what if like the deep propaganda that the US doesn't want us to see is that every single person on Stalin's kill list was just the USSR equivalent of Asmongold. Does that make it
That's true.
would that change your opinion on it?
No.
No.
I mean,
I
yeah.
mean
Wait. I think it would be good.
Oh man,
I think they should kill every
kill all gamers.
center right gamer
Just
streamer
just kill all
for sure.
gamers. I know this means
Yeah,
I'm advocating for my own state sanctioned murder, but at the end of the day, that's what we're all doing anyway. So
yeah.
kill
I
all
haven't played a
gamers.
game in months, so
I never stopped. Tune in to Morrowind and/or Farming Simulator daily.
yeah, Fire Simulator, whatever you feel like gaming on that day.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because and that's kind of what I think the whole like linchpin of this election is the Democrats were freaking out before they were elected, not because, oh, this is the end of the democracy. It means it's the end of like their flavor of power that they've had for so long.
Right.
Like they're gonna have to reinstruct or reinvent, get new people. Like there's gonna hopefully, or there should be some kind of big change. So like they're worried about that. Uh but like I think for
Yeah,
the
I mean,
people, for the day to day, like I don't know, things will get more expensive, things will get more stressful, but like hoping nothing really changes. Not even because like I like my day to day, just because I don't have hope in things changing for the better. I don't think things will change.
yeah. I mean, that's the Democrats' whole thing. Like, they're not going to change, but at least they're not.
They're not going to change. You know, it's like,
They're not
hey, the
going to change.
status quo
They're
isn't
bad.
inconveniencing you. Give us
Yeah,
$50 and we'll make sure it stays that way. You know, and
yeah,
that's why Guantanamo Bay stayed open after Bush left.
exactly. Yeah, they don't want to change anything. They just want to be like the moral alternative to the Republican fucking death cult or whatever.
That's right.
So I don't know.
And that's why we need to abolish the blue party, stand the actual credible legitimate green party, not the pretender green party as the Philadelphia Eagles rise to take the political stage. We're the Eagle parties now.
Yeah, yeah. Stephen A. Smith.
That's right. He's going to run for president of the Philadelphia Eagles. And
Man.
that's what the
Yeah.
office will be renamed to. We're going back to the original capital of this country.
Mm-hmm. The
And
Liberty Bell.
that's right. That's right.
The city of brotherly
I
love.
think we need to reestablish the Philadelphia Boston alliance.
The city of manly firmness.
And that's
Um,
the real return to American greatness, Philadelphia supremacy.
yeah. I mean, as a Boston guy,
I mean, that should be good cuz like this is it's like I don't know, Philadelphia and Boston, they're like brother cities in the revolution. So, I feel like
yeah.
you can just call it a it's still a Patriots win, you know.
What
Eagles
was
winning the
the
Super Bowl is a very Boston thing to do.
yeah? What was the rebellion where New England tried to secede from? Was it the Whiskey Rebellion, where New England was gonna like become its own country?
Let's find out. Let's find out together.
I would be supportive
Uh,
of a modern version of that.
Farmers in Western Pennsylvania. Uh, New England. How do you spell secession? There we go. The Hartford Convention.
I don't know if that's it. That is one weird thing about New England is like it includes Connecticut for some reason.
For some reason, it's right there.
I know, but Connecticut's like
Yeah, Connecticut doesn't feel like a real
that's
state.
New York. Like that's the tri-state area of
That's like
New York.
this. It's like the segregated upstate New York. It's like
Yeah, that's New
upstate
York's
New York for
domain.
even
Let
richer
them
people.
have Connecticut. Like we'll keep Rhode Island, whatever. But I don't know.
I've been trying to convince everybody in the West Coast that Delaware isn't real.
That's where Joe Biden's from. That's where Joe Biden
See,
fought Corn
Joe,
Pop to the death at the Battle of
see, and
Public.
Joe Biden's so old that like his hometown doesn't exist anymore. Like that's just a memory
Is
of
that
like
true?
a time that doesn't exist anymore. There's no more Delaware. It doesn't exist.
It was the first state, and that's why
Was it really?
they were able to have old ass Joe
Oh,
Biden.
what a
It's
mid
the
ass
only
first
state
state.
that was old enough to have him.
I never thought about which one was first. I just kind of assumed like Massachusetts was.
Yeah, for I guess it's Delaware because I guess technically they signed the fucking thing. You know that thing. They signed it first. That stupid paper.
But to a field in Mass where they had a plaque. They always got good plaques in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Underrated. Western Mass, that's also not real.
It's the spirit of America.
That's right.
There's some good shit in Western Mass. Mount Watautic is in Western Massachusetts.
Right, but you know, somehow, have you ever met anyone from Western Mass though?
No.
That's right. They were all just also there going to the mountains or whatever.
Yeah, they were just all doing the Wapak Trail.
Everything west of like Worcester. They
Yeah, that's why it's called Worcester. It's like Old English for West.
the most
Worcester.
west of Massachusetts.
Worcester. Right? That's why it's pronounced that way.
I would not actually be able to tell you Worcester's pronounced that way.
Yeah.
Apparently,
Well, I
there's
guess
like
it makes
Russia,
sense. Like,
Ohio, but
if
they
you really
pronounce it
like,
Brucey.
yeah, like it's spelled Worcester.
Yeah, Worcester.
Yeah, but like if you use like the C as like a soft C, it's like Worcester.
Worcester.
And then if you put a like Boston accent, like you're not gonna say war, you're gonna say wool. Worcester.
Worcester.
Worcester. Yeah, so like, it makes sense, I guess, if you put it like that. But I don't know. How do they spell? Because there's a Worcestershire
I think that actually has like the Shire
in
in it.
England, right? Or do
Oh,
they say it's
Worcester,
like
England.
Worcestershire?
I don't know, man. They probably call it something dumb.
Yeah,
I have no idea. They probably do just say Worcester.
yeah. That's stupid though. Worcester's way better. Friggin' Worcester, dude.
Oh, there is a Worcester, England. How do you pronounce that?
Yeah, that's where the fucking Worcestershire sauce comes from, right?
Oh man, are we about to
That's
find
good
out
stuff.
that they just also Woostar? That doesn't sound right.
Noun, so make sure to stay tuned to the channel. How do you say it? In British English,
I
you
don't
say
know,
it as Worcester.
man.
Worcester.
Oh, I guess they also say Worcester.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does it?
That's how you're supposed to say it.
That is.
Yeah.
It's,
Fools don't know.
the more you know.
Fools blown out again.
The more you know.
Do we want to talk about the animals?
Super Bowl. For anything you want to talk about the halftime show? Kendrick, Drake. I mean, we already talked about Kendrick. There's nothing more. It's funny to see a
Yeah,
bunch of like.
I mean, just as a Kendrick fan, like I think the big problem was they like didn't have his mic turned up enough.
I feel like that
Like,
always something like that always happens at the Super Bowl. There's always weird
yeah,
audio.
like I almost feel like if I was a conspiracy theorist, they were like afraid of like people like catching what he was really talking about too much. But I think really it was just like whoever was the sound guy was like,
Bad at his job.
although I don't know because SZA like she be belting it out, and I couldn't hear SZA either. So I think just
Yeah, yeah, sometimes they just have like bad sound at the Super Bowl, I feel like.
yeah, it sounded bad. And I feel like that's like a big takeaway I heard from a lot of like normies is like I couldn't hear nothing, and they were like trying to say it as like if Kendrick was like mumble rapper or whatever. But like I really think like just his vocals were just not loud enough on the mix. So I guess that's all I have to say. There was the Sudan, one of his like backup dancers or something put up a Sudan Palestine
Yeah,
flag life.
I think they just dropped the charges on him though. Either they just dropped them or they're still trying to figure out what to charge
Yeah,
him
they
with.
like tried to find a charge which doesn't exist. Like he like if anything it's just like he like muddied the performance. Like he didn't commit a crime at the very worst, like they just were allowed to like beat his ass and like throw him out of the fucking thing because he expressed his opinion out of turn, but whatever. Yeah, they beat that guy's ass.
It's crazy how well like liberals are like, I was willing to sacrifice all of Palestine's to keep the status quo. Why weren't you?
yeah,
As like that's the retrospect for the election on their end.
yeah. Like that's crazy.
It's crazy. So I guess animal news, like I said, we got the anglerfish. He put his mouth to
Mm-hmm.
the cup of potion and ascends through the world of ocean.
Yeah.
I don't actually think anglerfish can see well.
Yeah, they probably that anglerfish like that video you sent me where he like swims to the surface. He definitely didn't know what was going on.
Uh,
Like just something was wrong with his internal sea computer, organic computer.
for
You know
sure.
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
it. I could definitely. She could definitely. I mean, it's a female. That I don't like. The only thing I know about anglerfish is that the males are like weirdly small and like parasitic and just like attach on and that's like it.
Yeah,
So it is a girl. We can
that's true.
we we
Yeah,
we
yeah.
can
So that's a
gender the
woman.
anglerfish. Uh, but yeah, it's definitely feeling like the warmth, right? I could definitely see that. Like he probably feels like brighter and warm.
Yeah, it's like that video said, or the comments said he felt the light in the warmth. Whether he wanted to feel that or not, like that's probably what he felt, and it fucked him up, and he
Right.
died. Is that something that's happening to a lot of anglerfish?
I don't know. All the stuff was saying that this is super rare.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think they go on the surface very often. I thought they like exploded when they go too far up.
You would think so because apparently, like high tech submarines explode when they get.
Well, they implode because there's more pressure on the outside. But I thought that like because they like regulate and they're used to being in extreme pressure, that once that pressure lifts, like their internal regulator would actually explode like out of them. They
Yeah,
just
you'll
like
never
blow up.
make that make sense to me. Like a high tech submarine can live at that depth, but this stupid fish doesn't explode like immediately into a molecule. Like come on, what does this guy have that a submarine doesn't?
Smaller surface area, not a giant internal air pocket filled with people.
I guess so. I guess that makes sense.
Uh, and
But that's like thousands of pounds of pressure, like on every.
yeah, it's crazy. They're just fine. Squids and
Yeah,
stuff do it, like whales do it. They say isn't that the thing with sperm whales that when they dive down, it compresses their lungs down to like super, super tiny?
yeah. There's the gulper eels. right?
Yeah, but I think it's also like because they got like because they're like born in the environment, like just all like their homeostasis and stuff. Like there's just nothing that really bothered by the pressure, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Like the water flows through them rather
But
than like you said, like a big air pocket
yeah, because it's all
where
about
it's just
like
like
pressure
five guys sitting crisscross applesauce with a Sega Genesis controller.
Yeah, because I think it's all about like pressure differentials that kill you versus just like the actual pressure.
I guess that makes sense.
Uh, so like I think if you put an anglerfish under like a hydraulic press set to the level of the ocean, it would still like smush the fish. I don't think they're like immune to force.
Right.
I don't think anyone was thinking that, but I was thinking
Yeah.
about putting one
Probably.
in a press just now. It'd be like that
Yeah.
minion with the eyes like popping out. I
He's
mean,
the
it would just
best.
be pressing a fish. It just wouldn't be exciting to be.
This video like upsets me because it stops right
When it gets to
before
the
he
surface, yeah, that
touches the surface.
because part of me is wondering, like, is it even real?
Yeah.
Like, is this just like
Because there
someone's
was also
sick
that like
CGI thing, or is it just a fucking AI video and we're all falling for it?
yeah, because there was that also that meme that's been going on where it's like a beached anglerfish and he's like, seeing the land and he's like, I might have never known.
Oh yeah, the comic.
Yeah. And then also
I
there's
mean, because that first off, let me just say this: anglerfish can't speak English, so that comic is just
right.
false. It's inaccurate.
I mean, animals don't really know what's going on. That's
I
that's
think
their
they.
biggest flaw. They can't like extrapolate. Like,
I think it's
it's
like
like
they
how we
think
used to
they.
say like, what do dogs think of cars? They don't think of anything of it.
I think that's not entirely true. I just think it's not quite how we would think about it, like I think like a deer can extrapolate a lot of things. But like there's no we have to wait for like the ancestral memory to catch up. Like it took cars have only been around for 100 years, but deer have been around forever. So like I think I think as we keep going on, I think we'll start to see like deer get better at interacting with cars.
Yeah,
And like
maybe I don't know.
dogs will start having thoughts on
It
cars.
just doesn't seem like animals have the ability to like think in the abstract. Like even when you think like even when you teach an ape how to do sign language, they don't ask questions. They just like live in the moment.
I think octopus do.
They ask
I'm
questions.
a big I don't know if they ask questions, but I think they think in the abstract. They like
Yeah.
because they can like solve 'cause, like octopus think about boats that they can climb on and find the fish and get the fish. They can solve problem. They like plan bank heists and stuff.
Tyler says, "Is it going somewhere? Or is it running from something?"
I think it's going because it's got to just be feeling the light and heat. Because like
The
down there,
light and
light.
warmth,
Because like
like that guy said.
right, because like they can see light, but like they also don't really have a lot of light down there.
What
Uh,
does light? Yeah. So what
because
does
like they
light
produce
mean
light.
to
That's
an
how they hunt.
anglerfish?
Right. So it usually means like what food or like another anglerfish, which is probably also food. So food is what I'm thinking. So it goes like, wow, this must be big food
Does
up
it
here.
think that like the sun is like God, like it's like the big anglerfish in the sky?
Absolutely.
Like it's just the anglerfish with the like
Oh my
biggest fucking angler lantern or whatever.
man, that's got to be it.
Yeah. Like this anglerfish like just saw like the sun and was like, this must be like the creator.
Yeah, because like here I am like shitting on their eyes, but like I think evolutionary wise, it's the eyes kind of crazy because like it evolved in water and then like evolving the eye to work outside of water has been a huge thing. So I think fish, just like in general, have way better eyesight than anything else, like outside of water. Like outside of
Right.
like even like whale eyes, dolphin eyes, I think are worse than like a fish eye.
Yeah, that makes sense. And especially since this guy's eyes,
So
he
I
probably can't even, or she probably can't really even see. Like,
so that's why I don't
it
know.
is dark
Like
as
I keep
shit
thinking
down.
that's what I'm thinking. I keep thinking about it like a cave dweller, like when they're like, "Oh, this salamander doesn't have eyes," or like bat's eyes are kind of not great. Uh, but I don't actually know the vision situation on an anglerfish. That'd be very interesting to
Yeah,
look at more when I'm at work and bored.
yeah. Well, this isn't the only like big change in ocean animals. We also were saying dolphins are forming megapods.
Oh yeah, there was a super pod. For some reason, this one didn't like hyperlink in my Node app, so I have to copy and paste this. Oh wait, no, I think I still have it up. Oh yeah, I do just still have it up. Yeah, rare super pod of 1,500 dolphins seen near Monterey Bay. Monterey Bay's San Francisco.
So maybe this is like
Is there a
that
video?
game, Echo the Dolphin, right?
It's also kind of like Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy that happens.
Yeah,
All the dolphins just leave because they know the Earth's about to blow up.
yeah.
1,500 dolphins, part of a rare super pod. Uh, organizing no what? That's the problem with chat being like a little ahead is like I have no idea what he's saying no to now. Company captured drone footage of the snub dolphins swimming in mass. Risso's dolphin usually live in groups of 10 to 30 animals, loose aggregations of hundreds or thousands of individuals. That's crazy
Hmm.
though. 1,500 dolphins, like that's wild.
I wonder if this is like something that dolphins have like pre-scheduled. Like that's one possibility here. You know, like every couple hundred years, like dolphins get together in a huge thing, and they somehow know to do it.
My
That's one.
my Dr.
And we
Pepper
haven't.
hat's a Monterey Bay hat.
What?
The Dr. Pepper hat that I usually wear on the
Yeah.
camera. That's from Monterey Bay, where these dolphins were.
Hmm. Well, maybe they're doing that.
Sorry, I did not mean to just interrupt you with that. Keep going.
I don't even know what I was saying. But like, I don't know. Maybe this is something they do every so often. Is like form a
Oh,
huge.
yeah, like salmon returning upstream, locusts.
Yeah, they just do it. And the last time they did it was like before human recorded history. I
That
don't know.
seems like a dolphin-like thing to do. To just like every 30,000 years, we're gonna have like a giant party.
Yeah,
That's a very dolphin-like thing to do. Those fuckers.
yeah. And like, how would we know?
We wouldn't. We wouldn't. It's like
So,
those comets returning. Like we just thought they were new things every time.
hmm like the last time they did this, we were like,
I
you know,
think
Assyrian Empire.
I think it does. There has been like a kind of like trend, like he's saying in chat too. Like they're learning organization. Like we've been seeing a lot more organized whale pods in the past like few years.
Yeah, I mean, look at the orcas, right? Taking out the boats.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing. You're saying they can communicate across great distances. They're calling the council together, but the introduction of boats, 400 or 500 years ago onto the oceans at large, have created a lot of like sound wave disturbances in the ocean that's cutting the whales off from each other. So
Mm,
maybe they've just finally had enough. They're gonna try to take the waters back.
yeah, that could be it.
Do we know President Trump's plan to fight the whale wars in the upcoming years? Are we ready? Is this nation ready
I
to
I
fight
don't
the
want to let
whales?
I don't want Trump to know about
I mean, I would join the side on the whales.
being terror on them.
If the whale wars break out, I'm immediately going into blasting out anti-American pro-whale propaganda on the radio waves to demoralize the home defense.
He's gonna put tariffs on sea stars.
he's gonna he's gonna change the U.S. currency to the sand dollar.
Yeah.
Nobody's gonna buy anything without these. I can't do a Trump impression. I can't do
Yeah.
one. I don't even have a line. I don't have a sand dollar bit.
Starfish. You pick them up off the beach and
For some reason, I always thought sand dollars were like fossilized starfish, and not like actual like rock guys that just look like that.
yeah, like what the fuck even are those?
I don't know. It's crazy that they're just alive. Like, I don't.
Synthetic organism, like you don't ever see them alive. You just see them dried up and shit on the beach, and you take them home and
Put them on your
like,
shelf. Throw them away in a
you
year.
throw them in a big like bowl or something to show you like the beach.
Uh, it's kind of been freaking me out thinking about like mollusk reproduction. Like you go to the beach and it's like there's just like a bunch of clams like just under the sand,
Yeah.
like just waiting to shoot jizz into the wave.
Mm-hmm.
Is that just what beaches are?
Yeah.
It's kind of
Well, you hear that? But anyway, one other weird thing about the ocean is like I guess Humboldt squid have been exploding. Like
what?
they're popular.
Oh,
Like they'll just like any place you go, they'll fucking bite the shit out of you with their beaks,
that's awesome.
and no one's quite sure why.
Because they're intelligent. The squids, they're smart. They're doing that on purpose because it's funny.
Yeah, but yeah,
Oh, that's why.
the microplastics. Yeah, so the ocean's
Uh,
pissed. That's what we should get out of all of this, right?
is it so? It's because I think commercially that's the one we like. Commercial fish. Most popular
Humboldt.
squid in the world. A third of all squid hunted in 2019 were Humboldt squids.
Hmm. Well, that's the most common one, right?
Right. We're right. But I think that's why they're. Ooh, here we go. Here we go. It's a good sign when their Wikipedia article has an aggressions towards human section.
Yeah, well, they did a fucking River Monsters episode on it. Like the Red Devils, they were like biting the shit out of people, and
Numerous accounts have the squid attacking fishermen and divers. Their coloring and aggressive reputation have earned the nickname Diablos Rojos from fishermen off the coast of Mexico, as they flash red and white when struggling on a line. Although Humboldt squid have a reputation of being aggressive towards human, some disagreement exists on this subject. Research suggests these squids are aggressive only when feeding. At other times, they are quite passive. Some scientists claim the reports of aggression towards humans have occurred when reflective diving gear or flashing lights have been present as a provocation. Roger Uzin, a veteran scuba diver and amateur underwater videographer who swam with the swarm of animals for about 20 minutes, said they seemed more curious than aggressive. In circumstances where these animals were not feeding or being hunted, they exhibit curious and intelligent behavior. Recent footage of shoals of animals demonstrates a tendency to meet unfamiliar objects aggressively, having risen to depths of 130 to 200 meters below the surface to feed, up from their typical 700 meters diving depth. beyond the range of human diving. They have attacked deep-sea cameras and rendered them inoperable. Humboldt squid have also been observed engaging in swarm behavior and met by the light of submersibles, suggesting that they may follow or are attracted to light. Reports of recreational scuba divers being attacked by Humboldt squid have been confirmed. So yeah, they're definitely doing it on purpose.
Yeah, they're biting people.
Yeah, like I think if you get bit by a squid, you were giving that squid bad vibes and a reason to bite you.
Yeah.
Like, what were you
That's
wearing?
yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
I support squid's rights. Squid rights matter. I'm a big I'm a big pro cephalopod guy.
that's like amendment number 1 for squids, the right to bite.
I mean, they got beaks. If I had a beak, I'd probably be biting stuff too.
Yeah. Yeah, sharp ass beak
Yeah,
that no
it's
one ever see
right,
until it's too late.
right. I don't want to be anywhere near a squid beak. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, could you imagine getting bit by a squid?
No, that'd be crazy.
That would make me upset. I would definitely be upset about that if a squid bit me.
That's right.
It's one thing if they grab onto you with their tentacles, but like to bite you with their like sharp ass beak.
My favorite
Like,
is when people like post videos of someone like holding a blue ringed octopus and they're just like, "Oh, I found this thing. It just bit me." It's like a joke because it's like that's the one that kills you instantly if it bites you because it's like
oh,
super hyper venomous.
I didn't even know they were venomous.
The blue ringed octopus are the ones that are like super tiny. You can't even feel it biting you because it's so small. And yeah, those guys are venomous.
Damn.
Yeah, cephalopod, they're taking over the world after humans. We might even have to fight them for the current world.
Well, don't they die after like mating? Right?
Yeah. I think the male kind of just like gives up.
Like, oh, I did it. All right.
I don't know. I don't know if we know why yet though. My Michael crackpot theory is that they're so intelligent that they get hit with the existential dread of like, oh, I just like that's it. That was all there was to life, was to reproduce, and then they just die.
I guess so.
They haven't invented the concept of living forever and making the younger generations miserable for as
Right.
long as possible.
Yeah. Putting austerity
Right.
measures on.
They haven't invented cephalopod boomers yet.
Yeah. Yeah. So maybe like we're not as bad off as we think. You know, if we didn't have boomers, we would be dead.
That's right. That's right. I mean, that's the greatest hallmark of society is letting most of the population get old and curmudgeonly.
Yeah, letting a generation that's actively working against you and like trying to make your life worse. Like that's the hallmark of a
Though that's
success.
that's the strong men creating good times for weak men or whatever. That's what it's
Yeah,
really about.
yeah. Strong men create weak men, but like not in the way you think. Like
You
you
could
know,
you could take because
no,
it's like
like
a strong society can take care of people when they're not able to take care of themselves, and that makes them old and curmudgeonly, you know?
and they're not just dying as soon as they nut, like
Right.
squid.
Because like that, because like you tell that to maybe one of those things where like you'd write in a book about the plight of the worker, and people will be like, "Yeah, you're right. Like we shouldn't kill ourselves to live like the octopus do. Like we should live for human." And like the business
Right.
owners will read that and be like, "Oh man, they're right. These guys
Yeah.
should die after they've served their usefulness to us
Right.
and cut all the benefits and pocket the money and go on about their lives."
Yeah.
That's why we don't have pensions anymore.
Right. It's not like how it's traditionally been sought, where like you gain wisdom from the old. Like the old are just there to like get in the way and piss everyone off. But that's like the hallmark of a successful species is that we can keep those people around.
That's right. That's right. I don't agree with their ability to drive. I think we should have a serious conversation about age limits and driver's license, but I will be damned if I don't
Oh,
live in a society that won't let old people even consider driving.
yeah.
But also, someone should be making sure they're still okay to drive.
Yeah. So.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's it. We covered it
Yep.
all. We made it through. That was a lot. A lot happened this week.
Yeah.
The shit's hard to keep up with under Trump, and then hard to find good information because even like the mainstream media is like, here's why you should be okay with Trump's Gaza redevelopment plan.
Yeah, we're definitely at the height of like
Like that's the New
right
York
wing
Times. The New York
power.
Times, like the high liberal media that's supposed to be the opposition, is like, here's why this might be a good thing.
Yeah, they always have to couch it because they're scared.
Yeah.
But that's why they have us. That's why you have contemporary current.
This is the real this is real journalism.
Yeah.
You can get I can guarantee you that I've scrolled Twitter for hours preparing for this.
Yeah, I listened to several podcasts
That's great.
today.
That's great. That's like actually keeping current with our contemporaries because I do not do that at all.
Dude.
I'm just making all this up as we go. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not, but I just I don't know. I'm worried if I like listen to podcasts, I'm gonna like subconsciously steal from them, and I don't want to do that.
Well, that's why you gotta listen to multiple podcasts.
Right, but at the same time, like that's also what creating art is subconsciously stealing from people you like and just like riffing on their shit. I
Yeah,
guess that's fine, you know.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right.
Right. Right, it's like Bob Dylan playing the song to Woody, but he's just like using a bunch of like Woody Guthrie lines in his own song.
Right.
He'll use the same rhythms.
I mean, yeah,
Like
that's what
the
blues
evolution of folk music, you
always.
know?
Yeah, and that's exactly what we are, blues and folk, but a
Uh
podcast.
that's right.
So we're kind of like the Bob Dylan of podcasts.
That's I mean that's I don't want to sound dramatic, but yeah, we're definitely like Crosby and Neil Young.
Yeah,
And Steven Stills, you know, when he's here.
Graham Nash,
Yeah.
all those guys.
I saw a picture of one of them with like the long hair and like the receding hairline back, and it's like, man, I think it's all right. I'm getting more to terms with my receding hairline as I see other old men with long hair and receding hairlines rocking it.
Yeah, they didn't care. It was a style. It's a
That's right.
style on it.
This is just Bob Dylan to me, D Boone. That's right.
You're
That's
a
right.
soldier child.
That's right. And on Contemporary Current, we will celebrate D Boone Day every single year.
Oh,
No, always have.
what day
Always will.
is D Boone Day on this year?
Like what day of the week?
Yeah, April 1st.
Oh yeah, it is just April 1st.
Let's see, April 1st. Oh, it's on a Tuesday, so we're gonna miss it. But I mean, that's kind of cool. It's the day before.
Oh, that's funny. There's a Daniel Boone Day on June 7th.
Hmm.
I forgot there
Okay,
was like an actual
let's
D
get our
Boone in
day
history.
before D Boone Day.
You know what? I'm just gonna say it. Minutemen over Daniel Boone. Daniel Boone was a colonizer. The Minutemen were awesome.
Yeah, they're cool.
I don't know. I think I did like a trillion reports on Daniel Boone in elementary school. I think he kind of just
Did he die at the Alamo?
that's Davy Crockett.
Oh,
I think they're similar guys though, just like frontiersmen.
yeah.
It says he's the
Well,
first white man to see the forests of Kentucky.
Daniel Boone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That must have been something to see, huh?
Yeah, I mean, like I hate Kentucky like conceptually, but like physically, it's all right. They got a castle off the interstate for some reason.
All I remember was when I went there, and Tyler and I went to Waffle House, and the girl with no teeth was like, "Is your steak good?"
I bet it was too.
But it was good.
I love Waffle House. All right. Well, we'll see.